Hello, this is Eric Parnell, Chief Market Strategist of Great Valley Advisor Group. Well, it's come to pass, the 2024 elections, and we've had a Republican sweep across the U.S., the presidency, the Senate, and the House. So the next question that investors naturally ask is, what can we expect over the next 4 years from the financial markets given this outcome? Well, the first important thing to know is that we've seen a big rally in equity markets. Now, this comes as no surprise. We were expecting this outcome because one of the things that we see time and time again in the days after an election is markets tend to rally. And the reason that is because an uncertainty has been removed. There's no more question in terms of who's going to win the White House, the Senate, and the House. And institutional investors can sharpen their pencils and have a better idea in terms of what to expect from markets going forward. But the bigger question is, what can we expect going into 2025 and beyond? Now, the first thing to keep in mind is that it's a 2-year cycle, not a 4-year cycle. We've had a Republican sweep, but there's midterm elections coming up in 2026 that can change the control of the Senate and the House. So if there's legislation that's going to get passed, it's most likely to happen in the first 2 years. Now, one of the things that we see from the market, and we hear it in the financial news, is how do we position based off of all these things we heard on the campaign trail? But it's important for people to keep in mind, what you hear on the campaign trail isn't necessarily what's going to be passed in terms of legislation. The other thing to remember is that anything that happens under our new government, it's going to take time. Let's go back and take a look at the last 3 examples when we had a sweep over the last 20 years. In 2008, we had a Democratic presidency with Barack Obama along with a democratically controlled Congress. The markets rallied strongly in 2009 coming off the financial crisis, but the big landmark legislation didn't pass until 2010 with the passage of the Affordable Care Act. It was more than a year after the new government had gotten in place. Let's move forward to 2016. We had a Republican sweep with President Trump, a Republican-controlled Senate, and a Republican-controlled House. Despite the fact that we had one party controlling all 3 areas of government, it wasn't until January 1st, 2018, more than a year after the electoral victory, that the Tax Cut and Jobs Act was put in place. The markets rallied strongly in 2017, but then had a rough patch in 2018. Let's go forward one step further to 2021. The 2020 election saw the Democrats sweep into power under President Joe Biden. Once again, the markets rallied strongly in 2021, but it wasn't until the middle of 2022 when the landmark legislation, the Inflation Reduction Act, was put in place, and by then the markets were already having a tough time. So what have we seen in the last 3 scenarios? A strong market in the first year, a very uneven, if not down market in the second year, and it takes a long time before that legislation that everybody's talking about today finally gets put into place. This highlights the importance, once again, with your investment strategy, don't be reactive. These types of events have taken place in the past. They'll continue to take place again in the future. Continue the discipline and maintain your focus on your long-term investment plan. That, of course, is the key to success. Thanks for joining me for this latest market insight, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.